Actually, it's only called tin fins if it's from the tin fins region of France. Otherwise, it's sparkling ice station zebra. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another legacy video, and today we are going to be playing with tin fins, which is another way of saying a sort of strange instant speed reanimator deck list. While most of the legacy deck lists right now are focused on animate dead and reanimate and metamorphosis fanatic as the way to bring things back from the graveyard, Shallow Grave is an interesting alternative to those. It returns the top creature card of your graveyard to the battlefield and gives it haste until the end of turn. And that creature is gonna go away at the beginning of the next end step, which is a problem, right? Unless your opponent is dead. And this is where Griselbrand comes in. And the Legacy format has more or less settled on Atraxa and Archon of Cruelty as the best things to reanimate. But Griselbrand does something really cool within this shell with Children of Korlis. This little creature here says, sacrifice it, you gain life equal to the life that you've lost this turn. So I want you to imagine that you Griselbrand, pay 7, draw 7. Pay 7, draw 7 again. You get a Children of Korlis into play. Either you cast it or you reanimate it. You gain 14. You pay 7, you draw 7. You pay 7, you draw 7. You bring back Children of Korlis. Now the second time, it's cumulative. So you gain life equal to the life that you've lost this turn. If you've now lost 28 total life over the course of the turn, well, you can kind of see where this is going. And Griselbrand with Children of Korlis, in theory, should allow you to go and draw your entire deck. Which is pretty important, as this deck will often win with something like Athasa's Oracle or Laboratory Maniac. So we are seeking to use our sideboard as a secondary hand by using Living Wish to gain access to a lot of stuff in Game 1. And John, who donated to make today's video happen, has been playing this list for a while, so I think I changed a single card. I think I decided that I wanted one copy of Fairy Macabre in my sideboard to wish for. John already has Silent Gravestones here, which I think is a reasonable approach for this deck. The way this deck is currently built, it is using Exhume, which does not target, and Shallow Grave, which brings back the top creature. So you can use Silent Gravestone to prevent your opponent from reanimating things or targeting your stuff with surgical extractions and whatnot, and then still have access to your own graveyard. But Exhume specifically gets a creature card from each person's graveyard, right? You get one, your opponent gets one. And if we live in a world where our opponents just have Archons chilling in their Game 1 main decks, I don't really want to, put my Griselbrand in play, immediately draw 7, and then before I get, priority back to do things at sorcery speed, just lose my creature to an Archon of Cruelty trigger. That doesn't really sound the best. So I think I want to have the ability to wish for Fairy to pull some stuff from graveyards. Now, notably here, Tin Fins often has some sort of plan B. Sometimes there is a storm aspect where you draw a bunch of cards and then you win via Tendrils of Agony, and this version specifically has the Thespian Stage combo with Dark Depths, so that we can make a 20/20 as our plan B. And we have a decent amount of fast mana to help enable that, and we play Urborgs so that our Dark Depths still tap for mana. About the only other thing here that's super noteworthy that you all might not recognize immediately is Loyal Retainers. You can sacrifice it to return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only during your turn before attackers are declared. Weird restriction on an older card that has been reprinted. So this is another way to go and get your Griselbrand into play. With that being said, why don't we go ahead and jump into a league here. Folks, if you are looking for some cards, you need your copy of Children of Korlis to make this deck work, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAmagic.com. Tales of Adventure is an awesome store. They have treated me well, both as a content creator and as a customer. If you order stuff online, it comes fast, and you get free shipping. Just, automatically, which is a sweet perk. Promo code ThrabenU also saves you a little bit on your order. So, let's go reanimate some stuff, and we'll see if we accidentally give our opponent an Atraxo or an Archon of Cruelty a couple of times throughout this league. I'm all in, baby. Swamp, Dark Ritual, LED, put Exhume on the stack, crack LED, put Griselbrand ×3 into the yard, hope for the best, have some floating mana. Hopefully our opponent is just like not a blue deck. Probably not blue. So the next check is like, don't Vexing Bobble me. Just like play a fucking dude. Errands, play a dude. Spirit Guide. Resolves. That is oh, damn, that's good. Alright. Yeah. My swamp art is absolutely not loading. Whoops. Man, it's probably the sweet Liliana swamp too. That's a shame. So the real question is, how many LEDs do I crack in response to Exhume? 1? Go 1. So cast Exhume, hold priority. The graveyard order matters here. Put a Griselbrand into play. Now, we are hopefully going to do something busted. Okay, there's Children of Korlis, which is sweet here. I think I am going to cast Shallow Grave, hold priority. I'm going to make some green mana here. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to make some green mana there so that I can start setting up Living Wish for Labman, because with Children of Korlis and like 21 plus draws available, it is just going to be very, very easy for me to put together a win here. So the tricky part now is that my opponent could be on Leylines, they could be on Fairies, or they could be on Tappy Thing. Tappy Thing that works with Lelia. Ghost Vacuum, there we go. So there's a really wide range of things that I could have to deal with. Living Wish is going to be the way that I answer a lot of those things. I am accordingly maybe not sideboarding here. Silent Gravestone becomes okay if my opponent is doing Fairy specifically. Maybe I just generically bring this in, actually. Doesn't work against Leyline, but it works against the other stuff. By bringing these in, Unburial Rites makes less sense. I could junk like a Cabal Therapy and an Unmask or something and call that reasonable. I would love to just 20-20 my opponent, honestly. So, man, this swamp art not loading is sadness. This hand doesn't do anything. Like, I can disrupt my opponent's stuff, but I don't have a creature to put in. I could, like, gamble that I get a creature off of them that I could put in. And, like, sometimes I get a Pyroglyph or something very early on. I think I'm just going to mulligan this. This has no starting mana. This is probably a no-go from me. Go to 5. Yes. Absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay, it is Leyline of the Void, so we don't want Silent Gravestone if we go to another game here. Ooh, that's quite good. So let's Thoughtseize our opponent here. That is not a good hand. So this is a lock piece with no follow-up, which is something that I very, very frequently say just like is not a keep. We're just going to take their piece of interaction for a Merit Lage. I'm going to play out a Lotus Petal preemptively and pass the turn. If my opponent misses a land drop this turn, I don't know that I can lose. Chromox is fine. So now I don't know what beats me anymore. So we'll just play out a Vampire Hexmage. We know Chromox was the card that they drew. So I have nothing to worry about in that regard. And we'll just do this now. That way some random like sudden shock type card that my opponent draws doesn't mess with us. All right. Yeah, the opponent says, well then, GG. Yeah. So they can't get to 3 mana and draw Gone simultaneously here. Like, that just doesn't work. So if Vexing Bobble is a perfectly good card. Would have slowed me down by a turn here. But I think this is a classic case of a hand that should have been mulliganed. The Leyline of the Void, looks like it is going to be very, very good on paper, but I had a plan for that. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by moxfield.com, which is just the best place to keep your online deck lists. And one of the things that I love about them is that you can use it to keep track of what cards you do and don't have for a deck. So for example, in this deck list, I have all of the cards, so there are nice blue bubbles filled in here, and that's automatically ported over to your collection tab, where you can see exactly what cards you do and don't have. Okay, we have a hand that is close, but it doesn't actually do anything. Like, I have a good mix of lands and spells. I got 2 of these swamps with no art. I don't have a creature, I don't have an entomb, I don't have a thespian stage. I think there's just too many combinations of cards that I draw where I don't play Magic the Gathering. Oh shit. Land, LED, LED, Dark Ritual, cast Shallow Grave, on top of it on the stack, cast Entomb, hold priority, crack 2 LEDs, and then we just Griselbrand all over the place. Oh, opponent is going to 4. Opponent, if you win before I win, I'm gonna be mad. My hand is sweet. But you are a skillful magician who won the die roll, so, you know. I guess I could actually just cast, like, Dark Ritual and then Entomb. I don't have to get cute with holding the priority and putting it over it. Oh no, opponent says 4 one-landers in a row. Oh no. They have kept a 4-card hand. Okay, counter spells are live. Here we go. Dark Ritual resolves. I guess we're just entombing. Getting a Griselbrand. Let's attempt to reanimate it. Oh. Kafka, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, friend. Just accepting death. That is fine. So we have only seen Island and Brainstorm. Now this is an old school island here. Feels like Control Island to me. No proof, just vibes. I think I'm just going to generically board in Silent Gravestone over some other stuff here. Do I want to be able to entomb for Unburial Rites if I'm boarding in Silent Gravestone? That becomes less important. And go down one of those. Perfect plan. I don't know, maybe I need Unburial Rites still, even if I'm Silent Gravestoning, despite the awkwardness. So I have Dark Depths and Thespian Stage here. I think that means that this hand becomes a keep, and I think all this Entomb stuff just secretly ends up being bait. Although I can just YOLO a 2020 pretty much immediately. Ooh, it's Nadu combo. Aw. This hand just got so fucking hard to play. So if I just want to YOLO as fast as possible and say, like, fuck it, you don't have Swords to Plowshares, I can just, like, Thespian Stage, LED, Dark Depths, make a 2020 on turn 2. I think I am not going to do that. I think I am going to attempt some Entomb Griselbrand nonsense, and I can still have turn 3 Dark Depths combo on top of that. I think that's better, but I am not sure. Maybe just, you know, YOLO jamming is better because my opponent could jam Nadu this turn and attempt to do like Bristly Bill or the Shuko or Nomads in Corn the following turn cycle. There is the Nadu. The Wolfetch. I'm just going to grab a basic swamp here. What excellent art from Magic Foundations making its way to Magic Online. We will Griselbrand. Timing of that is not ideal. Yeah. Timing of that is not ideal. Alright, attempt to exhume. Oh, fuck. It just fucking worked. Hot damn. That's unexpected. Let's cast some stuff here. I probably should have cracked this first LED first. I was just, like, very surprised that that actually worked. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and entomb for the children now. Yeah, I'm a fool. I had Vampire Hexmage in hand. Fuck. That makes this definitely worse. Definitely worse. And this is where not having the burial rites is a major blow. That's on me. Yep, I just played that turn wrong. I cracked the first LED, and then I just probably draw my entire library there. Alright, so now my opponent gets to do their thing. And I'll just fast forward to the end of their turn, as I imagine that they are about to draw a gajillion D cards. Okay, my opponent is going to create a Nadu large enough that it will be able to wall my Griselbrand at this point. Like, I can use Vampire Hexmage to remove the counters on the Nadu, but my opponent is probably going to end up, like, having Force of Will and stuff here. I think I'm willing to just accept my punt and go to a game 3. Pithing Needle to slow my opponent down, but I don't think I really actually care. Actually, I'm going to go down 1 Silent Gravestone and +1 Unmask when I am on the play, just to help, like, Force of Will check. So this has 2 same sides of the deck, and I don't have green mana to Living Wish for a Dark Depths, so this one is no good. So I don't have access to green mana and white mana simultaneously with this hand, so I can't Living Wish for Loyal Retainers. That said, I think I'm still going to keep this one. I could just Living Wish for Dark Depths and hope that that is fast enough. I think we'll go Urborg, pass, see what our opponent has. A Dryad Arbor. I'll just go ahead and Entomb here for my good friend Griselbrand. Children of Korlis, not fantastic as a draw right now. We will Bayou. Living Wish. Yes. Grab Dark Depths and pass. So I messed up again. No, not really. So, like, if I want to Goldfish as quickly as possible, I can play Thespian Stage on 1, Bayou on 2, Dark Depths on 3, Dark Ritual, go. But then I don't leave myself live to top deck a way to put Griselbrand into play in a meaningful way. Exhibit A. Yeah. So let's attempt Exhume. Opponent has 4 cards remaining. It is a fairy. Yep. So this means that my opponent gets the fairy back from Exhume. I will play Thespian Stage. I will turn Thespian Stage into a Caracas. Now my opponent has at least 2 flying blockers here, one of which I can bounce, but this probably just wins my opponent the game. So, like, this is 8 activations this turn at minimum, another 8 on my turn cycle. We could pretend that we're playing Magic, but I am just going to move on with my league. So we win that one if I pay more attention game 2 and crack my first LED. I almost certainly don't lose from that position, so this loss is fully on me. Alright, my opponent has revealed a Yorion Companion, potentially meaning that they are Death and Taxes. I don't really have anything cool to do with this hand. We're going to mulligan this one. I don't have a way of putting a creature into graveyard here, so this hand does not work. I don't have anything to do with Dark Depths. I will unfortunately go to 5. So I have a turn 4 attempt at a creature. Entomb is probably the least replaceable thing in my deck. I have 8 top decks that allow me to do the thing on turn 2. And beyond that, I could top deck another, like, Lotus Petal or Dark Ritual to speed things up. I think we'll say that this is a keep. And oh, this is going to be reliant on drawing more lands, isn't it? I think I accept that. I'm just going to land pass here and show the least amount of information. And if I get punished randomly by something like a Vexing Bauble, I get punished by it. So potentially a black-white D&T deck. Now I get punished by a different thing instead. I'm going to lose my Lotus Petal here. I'm going to just pick up the basics so I don't get wastelanded. Actually, no, the Scrubland matters. I can get the Scrubland in a minute. Alright, Griselbrand to Yard. I lose Lotus Petal. Let's just top deck like a god. I guess LED also just gets us there. Yep. I mean, we take that. Now I don't need Scrubland anymore. I can get Bayou or Swamp instead. Pick up a Swamp, LED, White, and Burial Rites. Target Griselbrand. We'll use that, leaving a black available. Let's draw some cards. I might have Solitude. I'm getting a weird pause here. I think I am willing to draw more cards here. Did I just draw 14 cards and not receive a single piece of acceleration? That's rough. Alright, unmask, target you, maybe pitch one of my 2 shallow graves. No, I'm gonna pitch Exhume. That probably gets worse immediately. Okay, there's the Solitude that I called out. Now, unfortunately, this Griselbrand is going to exile. Man, my opponent doesn't even have more cards for me to fucking take. The rest of this is garbage. I will discard a Cabal Therapy, an Urborg, a Thoughtseize, I guess, a Thespian Stage, an Unmask. We can work towards having a 20-20 here. And my opponent doesn't have a lot going on. Neither do I. So I will Thespian Stage, pass the turn, and then probably just copy their basic swamp after they fetch a Surveil land. Yeah, so I'll let you do that. They junked Wasteland after I showed them Thespian Stage. Maybe they don't feel like that is enough to win them a game. Yeah, I mean, Dark Depths pass. I'll do this in upkeep, I think. You may Surveil again if you have another one. And you do. Now we can dismiss hand. They put a card on top. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. I want to play around the Wasteland type stuff. We'll keep the one with no ice counters, obviously. And sometimes this ends up walking into like a Caracas or a Flicker Wisp or something. But I think I've just got to do it. Sure. So, what is this Living Wish now doing? Getting a Griselbrand that I Shallow Grave next turn from 31 life. That seems reasonable. Griselbrand, junk that zone. I go ahead and play out an LED in case my opponent rips something like a Thalia off the top. Next turn I can do some neat stuff. Recruiter. Getting a Solitude. Sure. I have another Living Wish. I can get Children of Korlis. I'm always doing things this turn. Scrubland has not been used yet. Let's fetch Scrubland out of deck. 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can Living Wish for Children of Korlis, put Children of Korlis in my graveyard, put Griselbrand in graveyard, under Children of Korlis, put Children of Korlis into play, put Griselbrand in play on top of that. Or just cast Children of Korlis and not get cute, actually. Alright, Living Wish. Yes. Children of Korlis. Cast Children of Korlis. Ooh, I could actually just Cabal Therapy my opponent for the Solitude that I know about. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just take that out. Skyclave Apparition, the remaining card. So then, hold priority. Cast Shallow Grave. Crack for black. Put Griselbrand into play. This is going to have haste, so I guess I could have attacked first. It doesn't super matter from this life total. Alright. Yeah. Let's just draw 7 more. Okay, so now I should be good to go. So let's draw 7 more. Then we'll play out some stuff. So yeah. Shallow Grave. Getting back the Children of Korlis. Now we'll go green mana for Living Wish. Yes. Pick up Laboratory Maniac. Sack Children of Korlis. Gain a bunch of life. Go back to 31. We will cast Laboratory Maniac. And now we can activate Griselbrand to draw the remainder of our library. And there we go. A nice Tin Fins win. In this situation where I know exactly what my opponent's last card is, I think I go ahead and change phases and attack for the Griselbrand to do this with more life. It doesn't matter in this case, but I guess if I just, absolutely whiffed on the 14 or 21 cards that I was initially looking at, it could have become an issue. So the Exhumes are a little worse here because my opponent could bring back Solitude sometimes. I can still draw a bunch of cards with Griselbrand in response. Hopefully that's fine. I can board in Silent Gravestone, anticipating Fairy or Surgical. It also helps against some of the slower stuff like Lion Sash. So I think I'll Unburial Rites out, Cabal Therapy out, And honestly, I think I'm just going to trim one Vampire Hexmage against the 4X Caracas Swords to Plowshares deck. I could Pithing Needle if I want to help out with that stuff. Let's say no. I think this is going to be a really tough matchup. I think, generally speaking, my opponent has a ton of tools that interact with my stuff, many of which is just going to be stapled to cards in their mana base. This turn to 2020s. Next turn, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, 2020. That's reasonable. Sometimes I'm going to get Wastelanded off of that. I don't think there's a lot to do there, but we'll give my opponent some stuff to worry about. Plus, we can just, rip an Entomb or something, and still have the Exhume route available to us. The Surveil lands can sometimes make the Silent Gravestone, or sorry, the Exhume specifically, a little bit awkward. Sure. Stoneforge is fine. Stoneforge can just get a Cauldra that threatens to clock me, and that is what's happening. Griselbrand. That's not the plan this game. The Dark Depths. Make a copy. Keep the one with no ice counters, and hope for the best. This is me just shoving a win attempt, and my opponent has Swords, Solitude, Caracas, Flicker Wisp, potentially other things that all answer this. I don't expect this to work, but it is a reasonable win attempt. Yeah. I think you can wait and take your draw step, though, before you take that game action. So sometimes you just, draw a Swords to Plowshares, and then you just go, land, swords it, Cauldra, go, and you still have that interaction available for later. I'm taking 5. I've got a little bit of time here, but I am now down multiple lands because I went all in to make this play. I can play Marsh Flats on my turn and fetch out a basic swamp if I want to marginally thin my deck, but then I lose access to a Living Wish because I won't have green. Lauren blows up Silent Gravestone. Let's, I guess, rip an Entomb? Solitude. Problematic. I hate it when my opponent leaves their cards on top. Means they're good. I'm taking 8 here, going to 21. I think once I take the next hit, Griselbrand is not a reliable kill anymore. It's just getting Lion Sash. Yeah. So now oh, fuck. Now I don't win. Now Lion Sash covers the graveyard so that I can't reanimate. Alright. We get forced into a game 3. Could go down further on Vampire Hexmages to play Pithing Needles. But at the point where I trim this package, the Pithing Needle is best for the Dark Depths Thespian stage stuff. So I don't know if that actually makes sense. I go ahead and roll with this as is. This does not do anything. I have no way to put a creature into my graveyard. So turn 1, land, Silent Gravestone. Turn 2, do the thing. That seems reasonable. Get rid of Living Wish, I think. Alright. Land, Gravestone. I'll play out the LED here, just in case something weird happens and my opponent Moxes a Thalia or Thoughtseizes me or whatever. The Thoughtseize taking the Shallow Grave would be annoying. It looks like we've dodged that. Play Thespian Stage as land drop. Cast Shallow. I'm not sure if I held priority there. So, holding priority. Cast Shallow Grave. Rack LED for black. Shallow Grave returns Griselbrand. I'm going to draw some cards. Floating mana here is a little awkward. Yeah, I think I attack first and don't crack the LED in response. I think now I'm locked into this. So, bam, bam, bam. Yeah, we're wasting the 3 LED mana here now. Actually, I could Thoughtseize. Yeah, I could probably Thoughtseize. Okay, so that stuff doesn't really do anything anymore. Take Stoneforge Mystic. Go to combat. Back for 7. I believe that I am willing to draw more cards here. So pay 7. We're looking for an Entomb or a Children. Fully whiffed. Rough. Wow. Yeah, no Entomb, no Living Wish, no Children. I've already made my land drop. Okay. We're going to go ahead and exile that Griselbrand and then discard some cards. So discard Griselbrand, some lands of various natures. Discard an Urborg. Probably discard one Dark Ritual. That seems fine. I can still just like Shallow Grave a Griselbrand back next turn and probably be fine. I can also, potentially Thoughtseize away something that is scary as well. That's annoying. That is a really good top deck. I don't care about the rest of the stuff they have. So it is literally just going to be, does my opponent top deck and out to Merit Lage. So Dark Depths, Dark Ritual. Let's just go ahead and Thespian Stage. Copy Dark Depths right now. Keep the one with no ice counters. Make my 2020. I will still just Shallow Grave a Griselbrand here. I think this is perfectly fine to do. And we will just treat Shallow Grave as a 7 damage burn spell that gains us life. Opponent's at 4. I had one more mana here. I could Thoughtseize to make it so that a top decked Solitude doesn't have a white card to pitch. But I guess Yorion still always gives the white card. What does that change with Recruiter? Surveil land. Well, you're not drawing another card. So we get there. I think we won a tough match. All right. We have a classic Force of Will check hand here, where if our opponent doesn't have Force of Will, I probably win easily. And if they do have Force of Will, I probably lose without any resistance. GG, well played. So now my Shallow Grave doesn't do anything. All my extra mana doesn't do anything. I don't have any game remaining. But that's what happens when you play a deck that kind of just shoves. Potentially playing against Nadu combo again. That hurts a little bit as a draw. Fast turn. I have some really good top decks still that likely result in me. Come on! Come on! Fucking Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Let me top deck a Dark Depths. I mean, yep, I'm in. And this taps for black mana. I'm gonna do it now. There's some reasons to do it now. There's some reasons to wait. There are a few sorcery speed options that my opponent could potentially be playing, like a Teferi Time Raveler that hit the Merit Lage if I do it now. But my opponent could be playing some sort of, Wasteland effect, some sort of Stifle effect that messes with me if I wait. With Wasteland being kind of the one that is disastrous. All right, is that a flying blocker? That is a flying blocker. Sure. So this is going to allow my opponent to live for 1 turn, and then we'll see what they can do from there. It feels like they are playing a Nadu deck list. This does say target creature on it, so I guess it has synergy with Nadu. Goodbye, bird. And then the bird ability probably goes on Sylvan Safekeeper. So this does become a mana dork. It gains the activated ability of Birds of Paradise. Alright, there is a Nadu. So Nadu flies, Nadu can block this. And we'll see how crazy my opponent wants to go with, like, sacrificing their lands here. Alright, let's fast forward to end of turn. My opponent is about to get 8 activations of this. I think I'm just going to concede. Like, my opponent has a Swords to Plowshares, and the graveyard is covered. I don't think I am going to sit here while my opponent finishes me off. My patience for Nadu combo is quickly dwindling. I think I need to Pithing Needle if my opponent is going to be playing both Nadu and things like Agatha's Soul Cauldron. But, I don't know, maybe I just Silent Gravestone. Just stop the stuff from being targeted in the first place. I've been going like yah as my default when I'm boarding in these Silent Gravestones. That's like, okay. I don't really know that the Vampire Hexmage plan is all that good here. I might go down on these. Maybe I just trim one. I keep the second unmasked to help with my opponent's combo stuff. I could Pithing Needle. I am at my core a combo deck, and the more cards I board in, the less effectively I can execute my combo. I think my opponent's combo is very consistent. So I have a Silent Gravestone to protect my graveyard. I don't have anything to do with this Griselbrand. And since I'm on the play, I can't really just like discard it to hand size either and then try to bring it back with the white reanimation Duder loyal retainers. Loyal retainers. So this one feels like a mulligan. I mean, yeah. Since I already have a Thespian stage, I think I'm getting rid of Vampire Hexmage, despite the fact that like Urborg, Dark Depths, Vampire Hexmage is a very good sequence. I could just get rid of one of the LEDs though. The LEDs really help me with a turn 2 win attempt though, if I am actually trying to win the game and race my opponent's combo. I think I'm going to Urborg pass end of turn Entomb. I can do it upkeep though before my opponent gets one more natural draw at a Force of Will. Let's Entomb. Put the Griselbrand in the yard. I am 1 mana away from being able to do some very, very, very cool things. We're just shoving though. I don't think I get to wait things out here. Alright, Griselbrand is in play. I'm going to attempt to attack my opponent for 7. If they swords me mid-combat, some kind of weird things can happen in regards to these LEDs, which is maybe a reason to consider doing things in first main. Yeah. I'm going to assume that this still ends up being fine. There is a Lotus Petal. Sure. So, Lotus Petal, unmask, target you, pitch some black card here. Do this one. Take swords. Probably take swords. Let's go ahead and just resolve another Entomb now. Put a new Griselbrand into the yard immediately. And then junk like Exhume and a bunch of lands. And then next turn I try Shallow Grave stuff again. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, I Dark Depths combo anyway. And I think I am overall fine with that. Alright. Yeah. There's a Griselbrand there. So black, Shallow Grave. Go to combat. Are we done? Alright, we're done. And with that little of my library remaining, I don't think it is hard to win from there. Let's run it back for game 3. My hand does not have a way to return a Griselbrand to play. Doesn't have both sides of stage depths immediately accessible. I don't think I like that. This hand can YOLO Thoughtseize myself into Exhume. That is not overly exciting. I think I am still going to keep it. And sometimes I pivot and I just Thoughtseize my opponent and gear up for a slightly longer game that I'm not like super excited about. Living Wish can find Thespian stage. I'm just going to confirm it can, in which case I think I'm good with this and just attempting to take out a Nadu. We'll take out a Ponder and pass. I guess, did you just rip Nadu off the top? I am going to be upset if that top card is Nadu. Okay, no, they just needed the white. That's fine. That's fine. Take 1. 17. So I actually want Vampire Hexmage here. Off Living Wish. So get Bayou. Past Living Wish. Yes. Grab Vampire Hexmage. And then we've got that covered next turn. Oh joy. It's Nadu. Alright, I'll give you the end of turn update. I'm not even going to wait it out. So, like, there is now Force of Will plus Swords to Plowshares plus protection for this stuff. It's just not worth playing anymore. Alright, GG's. Okay, so I have Entomb plus Shallow Grave, but not black. I have Dark Depths Thespian stage. I'm missing another mana. I think this is the sketchy keep. I think I just keep this one, and I assume that enough of my draws get me to a reasonable place, a high enough proportion of the time where this is fine. I think I'm going to lead on Stage Petal Pass. Ooh, opponent is also going to attempt to go fast here. Maybe something like a Mystic Forge combo deck list. Yeah, there's Grim Monolith. There's a key. So my opponent can slam something like a Karn or a One Ring on turn 1. The One Ring definitely makes my Griselbrand nonsense worse. I don't need to Entomb here, or I can make that choice on my turn. Okay, so this isn't perfect, but I can theoretically win here. I think we're going to go ahead and Entomb, get Griselbrand, Shallow Grave it into play. I get to draw 14. I don't have any floating mana here. So let's take the first 7. No fast mana, that's scary. Let's take the second 7. Did I just draw 14 cards and not draw one piece of interaction? Not one tiny artifact to get this all started. That's rough. Attack out of spite. Pass turn. So I now exile that Griselbrand. I'll discard this Griselbrand. I'm going to discard probably a decent number of lands here. The Thoughtseize type stuff doesn't really matter anymore. Exhumes don't really matter anymore either. And there's only one creature here, so any order is fine. So I don't have any like cool Living Wish targets that stop this bullshit, right? Not really. Rex Sage not really gonna do enough. I also just didn't draw Lotus Petals, so I can probably keep a green source over keeping Entomb here. Urza Saga. Urza Saga kills me from 6 pretty damn easily. Glaring Fleshraker also kills me from 6 pretty damn easily. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if I'm dead. 5? Oh, man. I certainly don't get another turn to attack with a 20/20. I think I need a sicko Griselbrand to draw 7. Kozilek's Command kills me. Rough. Kozilek's Command is also just a way to exile my graveyard at instant speed in a way that sucks for me. What is this deck playing as Graveyard Hate other than Kozilek's Command? I looked at 3 different lists and they had 3 different Graveyard Hate suites, which is not great for me. Some of them are on Leyline, some of them are on Fairies, some of them are on other things like Tormod's Crypt. I think I'm going to get rid of Burial Rites. I think I'm going to get rid of the Ball Therapy. Ignore Silent Gravestone, just play a couple of Pithing Needles that I can put on something like the One Ring. If I'm on the draw and I can just hard discard Griselbrand to hand size, I think this hand is reasonable, but I don't know that I want to try to keep a double Pithing Needle hand and just shut off the things that my opponent is capable of doing. I think I need to be attempting to win the game. So I throw Exhume back, turn 1 Entomb, turn 2 Shallow Grave, use the other Exhume pitching to Unmask to get me through the first turn cycle. That seems fine. I think my opponent's deck is powerful enough and fast enough that I unmask on my turn 1, despite the fact that they could, say, draw a Fairy Macabre off the top. And luckily they didn't open up with a Leyline, because I had no fucking plan for that. So I take a Manifold Key here, and hope that my opponent does not draw another one. Oh wait, fuck. So Grim Monolith, 3 mana, down to 1 mana. Fuck, my opponent just gets the One Ring, no matter what, on turn 1. But it costs them 2 Grim Monoliths to do it. Okay, yeah, I take Manifold Key then. Not great. That is not a start that I want to see. That was a very redundant hand. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith number 1. Immediately into Grim Monolith number 2, which means the One Ring is coming. That sucks. Now I don't get to Griselbrand. I think my deck broke. What a devastating top deck. That's incredibly frustrating. Man, I wish I had Exhume now to just whack my opponent with the Griselbrand multiple times. So there's a backdoor, take Hexmage here, hope to get a Dark Depths, but I think I'm just going to whack my opponent for 7. Living Wish for Loyal Retainers? Living Wish for Rex Sage? Okay. I'm going to get Scrubland. I'm going to cast Living Wish. Say yes. I wish I had a Collector Roof. I think I'm going to go Rex Sage. I don't know that I beat my opponent in a game where I have to attack with Griselbrand 3 times. I think I'm just going to pick up a Rex Sage and hope for the best. The One Ring is just going to bury me. So I think I'm going to hope that I can just like draw 14, combo off. Yeah, because I think we beat the original opening hand pretty easily, but that top deck Pithing Needle just puts me so far behind here. I also think I need to rip a land right now. Success. So I take out Pithing Needle to set up for Shallow Grave, Griselbrand, draw 21 nonsense. Maybe draw 14 if my opponent plays another One Ring. Maybe draw nothing if there's more Pithing Needles. Or Ancient Tomb. That means another One Ring gets to happen. Okay, pass turn, pass turn. We're going for a win. So, Shallow Grave, get Griselbrand. Come on! That is savage. Opponent's at 9. I have a 2-1. They have 2 Ancient Tombs and a One Ring. I think Glaring Fleshraker means that they are going to easily win. I'm just never going to get through for damage, so the only thing they have to do is not die to their One Ring, which the other copy of the One Ring ensures. We'll play it out, though. The key's bad. The key's really bad, because that is either mana or cards, whichever one my opponent needs more of right now. Apparently mana. So my opponent can just chain together a handful of spells, play a new copy of the One Ring, and almost certainly kill me with Glaring Fleshraker the following turn. Yeah. Or just play a new One Ring now. That works too. Dismiss these. These zones don't matter anymore. I am probably not literally dead here. It's just very hard to imagine winning from this board state. Like even from 7 life, I think the One Ring just carries. We'll play it out. Imagine. Oh right, the One Ring. That was dumb on my end. Oh, there's just a Kozilek's command. I'm just going to concede as soon as that goes on the stack. We have undone it. Alright, opponent not casting it? Maybe they just have an onboard win if they just use Voltaic Keys for Grim Monolith stuff. And I forgot about the One Ring protection. I don't need to make the Rexage attack on my turn. Go on, cast your spell. I want to concede. We're done here. I know I'm dead. Show me the spell that you have telegraphed, and I will concede. Assault Monolith, which is mana neutral. Untapping it, and then taking 2 from Ancient Tomb is lethal. Alright, that is 11 damage directly to face. We are dead. I potentially win one of those rounds by playing a little bit better. My opponent got a little lucky in the last round, but they looked at a bunch of extra cards with the One Ring, so this result feels about right. Alright, so how do we feel about the deck as a whole here? For what it is, it's fine. I think the deck is okay. I don't think I am excited to play this in a metagame where everyone and their mother knows that Graveyard Hate is one of the most central things to the format. You know, the various like blue, black, Psychic Frog, Reanimator style deck lists are making it so that Fairy Macabre is one of the most played cards in Legacy. And having that come as a surprise multiple times throughout the league is pretty feel bad. We have some degree of interaction versus opponents, but we're kind of a jam and hope that it works deck. And executing our combo does not necessarily guarantee a win. There is some degree of variance built in. There were a couple of times where we didn't draw, a Lotus Petal or an LED to get things started. Maybe you can consider playing like a copy of Chrome Mox or 2 to kind of help out with some of that stuff. Some of the decisions about when and what colors to use for Lion's Eye Diamond are kind of interesting. I'm fully dialed into the league and am not like recording and narrating my plays. I think I 3-2 this league. But like there's definitely some skill to be had here. I'm not sure how I feel about some of this stuff. Like I boarded out the Unburial Rites most of the time. I just kind of felt like it was expendable. I boarded the Cabal Therapy out most of the time. The Cabal Therapy exists. I don't think it came up this league, but it exists so that you can Shallow Grave a Griselbrand, Cabal Therapy your opponent, take a card, Cabal Therapy, sacrifice your Griselbrand, take another card, and then because you sacrifice it with Cabal Therapy, it doesn't get exiled with Shallow Grave. So I understand why that's there as a singleton, but it feels expendable. It feels a little weird to be playing 3 Living Wishes when I dedicate 10 of my sideboard spots to Living Wish. Maybe that means you need the 4th. I am not sure on some of the numbers. I don't think they are that far off if they are off. Like, is this Unmask better than this Living Wish? The Unmask can target yourself sometimes to throw a Griselbrand into the yard to get things started. That's not going to come up a ton if you only have exactly 3 Griselbrands, but like it can be relevant sometimes. I'm going to say that this was a relatively enjoyable league to play, but I don't know that I felt like the deck has the highest degree of agency, which is something that I'm going to want if I am, going to play this in a serious event, something along the caliber of Eternal Weekend. I feel like you lose a decent number of like die rolls and coin flips and such playing this deck, and you end up taking on a decent number of losses. But as far as most of the stuff goes, I don't think I have major notes. Maybe you can go down on like a gravestone or a pithing needle or something in order to go and play a collector oof in the sideboard to occasionally steal a game versus some artifact based stuff with some splash damage on something like Storm. That's about my only note. Anyway, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day. If you know where to go, get your cards, order them online. Promo code ThrabenU. Words are hard. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm a sleepy boy, so I'm gonna call it a day. All right. See ya.